So first video of the week. Got this old stud welder out here. I won't use it unless I absolutely have to, but I'm going to try to find something that'll fit back under these areas to push on these dents to see if I can't push them out. And if I can't reach them and it's absolutely impossible to get to, then I will weld a stud on it and bing, 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 pull them out. The ones out towards the center, I can smack them and get a little bit of that done with the slapper and a dolly. This side over here is a little worse than that side. And then there's a few on the front here that are a little bigger than average. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Probably won't stay out very long. Just kind of work on these and see if I can't get them to disappear slowly but surely. I will dig this gutter seal, seam sealer, whatever you want to call it. Dig that out and clean that area up. As for my gaps, you already seen in the previous videos that they're pretty spot on. I will go back and like fine tune them, if that makes sense, you know, with a lighter grit, because I was hitting them pretty hard with like 36 and 80. So I'll go back and, like, you see that little divot down there, the little spot of weld, I will go to the back side and clean that off. Just stuff like that I will go through and fine tune them areas just to make sure that, same thing on this side, and there's a little divot right there. I don't know if you guys can see that like my eyes can. You see it? You see it now? All across that area. I'll have to fine tune those areas with a little finer grit sandpaper. Overall, I mean, they're not bad. I mean, there's just a couple small spots that I can see, and if I can see it, the judges can see it, and if the judges can see it, they're gonna knock you for everything they can find. Lid's a little high on this side, but that's a matter of my hinge, or my latch is at the bottom of its adjustments, so I will pull it off and take the die grinder and open them up just a little bit more, where the lid can drop down just a hair. And I should be good on that. We've got to clean this weld up. I didn't want to do it with the pop metal on there, because you hit that pop metal, you'll really gouge it up pretty good. So I need to pull that off, clean that weld up. Still have to put my panel bond on the inside of here. So as you can see, there's where it's supposed to be. So, alright, moving on. Work on this roof a little bit today, and I'll get back with you guys. Alright, bye. Okay, elbow deep in this up here with these dents. I did find that a few of the dents are actually under that piece, or above that piece, should I say. So I went ahead and dropped that down out of there, pulled it down, took all the spot welds out. You can see. Either way, it had to come out to be able to get to them dents. But plus this here piece was bent, and it was pulled away from the roof where someone had probably jumped on the roof at some point. You can see all the panel bond in there, but it was, I don't know, probably that far away from the roof anyways. So this had to come out. It's been my plan all along, and I'm going to bend this piece so that it's tied up against the roof again, and then redo the panel bond so that the roof will be tight. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I was doing it this way, holding the dolly up here under the roof and then slapping it up here. And dude, this thing's heavy, and if you're holding it up there like that, it does really get tiresome. So back to the drawing boards like the Wild E. Coyote. I wanted to figure out an easier way to do it. So this is what I came up with. I have a ball peen hammer. I rounded out the even rounder and smoother than it was. So rounded that out, and then I welded it to this longer pipe. Put a handle on the end of it, and then I got me a piece of chain here. So what I do is the chain gets hung on the gutter here. You see, like that. Oh yeah, nice and tight. So then you take your tool, your ball peen hammer or whatever you got, and you slide it in here, and then you can locate the dent that you're working on. See, so let's say it's right there, and what I'll do is I'll push up on it, and I will take my tip of my, and I'll tap, and hear the sound, right? So you're there. So if you press up on it and just kind of whoop it around the edges of it, you get that little dent out of there. So that's where I'm at with it. Smarter, not harder. And this was my fix to that problem, because like I said, it was just too tiresome trying to hold that up in there. So maybe someone else can use this idea to fix a roof skin and get the dents out of it if need be. Alright, get back with you, let you know how it works out. Bye. Alright, so after a little while of working with this, I seem to have started getting some of the, you can tell by the white spot is where the dent was. And you can see kind of where I've sanded to see if it'd disappear. But yeah, like this here is up underneath that lip. Same way with that one. I don't know if they're significant enough to actually worry about it, where I think I can get to these two. So anyways, seems to be working. I'm popping them out little by little. So what I'm finding is if I pinpoint it right in the center with the tapping, after I get it in the center and push up on it and then slap it, it kind of pushes it up a little bit, which is fine, because once it's pushed up a little bit, if I hit it with the 80, it knocks that little nipple off, and the paint disappears. So seems to be working for me. I'm going to keep on doing that and get this roof as good as I can get it before epoxy primer. And it's high build epoxy, so I'll put a couple coats on it, and then I'll be able to dry coat it and go over it with a block and see if there's anything still showing. If there is, then I'll put a little lightweight filler in them areas and move on. Alright, hail damage sucks. Alright, I'm out of here. Okay, let me show you where I'm at. Because I gotta get out of the garage. If I don't get out of the garage, my better half's gonna send me and the grandkids to foster care somewhere else besides here. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna get inside and call it a day. So I was able to get the majority, well, pretty much all the dents out of the roof. I only ended up needing like maybe 4 of the weld-on studs for big dents. Like one was here and one here, and then there was a couple on the other spot, on the other side, should I say. But the roof is cleaned up to the best of my knowledge, and I went ahead and I pulled this bracing out and rebent it, tweaked it so that it pushes up against the roof tighter, and then I put seam sealer back on where it was from the factory, so I gotta let that dry, and then I had to tack weld it back in on all 4 corners. So anyways, that's done. The roof's done, and then I worked on the channel and dug all the seam sealer out of the channel here. So, on both sides. So anyways, yeah, moving on. Like I was saying, seam sealer out, this part in, majority of the dents knocked out. So that's where I'm at with it. Cleaned up my mess. I will get my vacuum out probably tomorrow sometime after I get done with some service calls, and put that little like brush connection on it, and then go in here and clean up the inside. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here. Oh yeah, I pulled this out of the Evaporust, the piece that hooks in there that I need to put back in, and then one of the door lock mechanisms. The 2 mirror pieces are in there, and they're almost ready, and then I got a exhaust hanger in there. So get back with you on it. Night night. Alright, so watched a few videos last night on door jams and stuff, and saw that the guys actually take a file and use a file to do the fine tuning. You know, like how these have like a rounded edge. So that's what I'll do, is I'll take a file and hit them real slowly with the file until I get the pretty rounded edges on them. I did get this piece in from Andy Pole. They don't even sell this piece, and you have to get it used. I'll have to clean it up, of course, but it's the wiring gutter that goes back behind the water bottle. That's a broken one, I guess, but a couple of the clips broken, and then some other little clips for under the hood. And I took some good clips and put them in here in the old Vaporust and get the rust off of them. But I did have some UPS show up with some goodies. I got the trunk divider. It goes behind the rear seat. Firewall gasket set. Splash shield set. All the rubber buggy bumpers. New trunk lock mechanism. Dome light cover. Mine's all yellowed out. So the 323 ratio tag for the rear end. Door handles. The Moog shackle bushings. And then we got door, gutter, and trunk gasket. So that's where I'm at. Just trying to get stuff gathered up to do the final assembly when that time comes. And yeah, it's kind of cool out here today. And I'll probably come out here a little bit later, like I said, and take a file and kind of fine tune some stuff. And then I'll get back with you on it. See ya. Alright. Let me try this again. So, unfortunately, I am back on a fender because I wasn't liking the profile of this right here. When you walk around the car and you look around, you'll see, you know, different angles of the car, and you realize that this area here is kind of slanted out. If you look at the other side, that fender is really kind of, I can't really show you in a video. Well, maybe I can show you from the front. Yeah. So from the front area, you can see how it's got this pitch to it here, and it comes outward here, and it's still rounded. So this side, because of all the damage that was on this area and me hammering it all back flat, I kind of probably flattened this area out too much in my opinion. And what I've been doing is using the old porta power and the heat gun and pushing out on it and heating it all up, and then kind of letting it cool, and trying to stretch the metal without having to literally just beat the hell out of it back this way and then flatten it back out, because I'm not trying to do all that. But anyways, so with me working at it here for a while, you can see I'm starting to get that angle back to it right here. So that's where I'm at with it. Just trying to get this out as far as I can, so I don't have to put a ton of filler there, and I'm not going to give up on it. So this fender was pretty much shot. I'm almost regretting even working on this fender. Maybe my other one would have been better, but I don't know. I'm just going to leave it at that and just say I'm working at it, trying to make it look better. I got a template off of the other side, and I'm trying to mimic this right here in this area so that I can get it as close as I can. And then I also got my angle finder, and I'm doing this area, trying to get that as good as I can. Alright, just thought I'd show you where I was at with this, because this really wasn't my plan for today. My plan was to come out and use a file and start cleaning up all the gaps as good as possible, but this just keeps eating at me and if you know me, I won't quit until I get that right. So with that said, I'm gonna continue working on this and hammering on it and heating it up and pushing it and try to get it to the point where I can be happy with it and move on. Alright, bye-bye. Alright, so after fooling around with this for quite a while today, I'm done. It's as good as it's gonna get. Which, really, I say it like a bad thing, but that's because I'm a creep like that. But this is what I ended up with. It's pretty good, pretty spot on, and then it doesn't look stupid from back here. You can see it's got a little curve to it there. So, alright, that's where I'm at. Got the fender back on, and while I had it off, I went ahead and used the file on the edge here to make the edge look real nice, and on the door also. So that gap's done. This fender is pretty much done. All I gotta do is clean up a little bit of the welds on the dog leg, and then spray some well, now I got a brain fart, rock guard underneath there, and then that fender will be done, and it should not have to come back off anymore. Alright, so this is what's going on over here in my Mopar world. So we bought this like $500 bunk bed for my grandson, and this is what the stairs were to get up on his bed. Particle wood with some little inserts and bolts. So this is what I done. I got some L brackets, or L channel, or whatever you want to call it, iron, and I just I made them out of steel and welded them on. This should last a little bit longer than that particle wood. Alright, I'm out of here. Alright, so the plan for today, I didn't come out yesterday. Is to fine tune all of the gaps with the file. 56 degrees in here. It was gonna be in the 20s tomorrow morning, like 29 over here in Kansas. So that's my goal, is to, there's not much that needs to be done. Fine tune those gaps, finish what's left on the back side of these fenders, so I will have to remove them, fine tune everything. I'm hoping to get the rock guard put on the back of them. That way I can move on to the sanding it down. There's a few spots like that I want to probably tap on with the hammer a little bit and see if I can't get them to disappear. So anyways, yeah, that's where I'll be at, over here jacking around. My old vacuum went bad, so I brought this one out of the basement, my spare, and it has a whole bunch of hose on it, so I'm trying to locate this in one area and then set it up where I can like wrap the hose up somewhere, and then if I ever need it, I just unravel the hose and I'll have my vacuum right stationary where I don't have to have it in the way or drag it around. But that's boring, I know. So anyways, yep, just cleaning up, fine-tuning stuff, and trying to get this thing ready to shoot some epoxy primer on. That's where I'm at with it. So we'll turn the heat on a little bit in here and warm it up. Alright. Okay, so got everything cleaned up, grinded down, put some short hair fiberglass on the weld areas that wasn't looking too great. So as the back of the fender, probably never see it, but I'm going to clean it up and make it look good. So got all this one done, everything, all the rust holes have been welded shut or patched or whatever it took on both fenders. So it's kind of cool out here, so I'm just kind of letting it all set and cure, and once it gets all cured, I'll sand it all down and clean it all up where it's ready for that rock guard to be sprayed on the back of the fenders, so I can get them reinstalled and move on from that. Here I got this back out, and it really is starting to clear up quite a bit. I haven't had much sun today because it's been cloudy today, but even the little bit of sun I've been having, it's starting to look a little better with the 12% hydrogen peroxide on the inside, and then this Salon Care 40 smeared on the outside here. So it's gonna look decent once I get it in the car. I don't know if you guys look back on some of the other videos, it was pretty dark in this area, but it's starting to lighten up a little bit. Alright, that's where I'm at with it. Get back with you guys. Okay, this is where I'm at with it. After getting all the welding and grinding and all that done on the back sides, spray some rock guard on. Gotta let this set and dry. I got 3 cans, so I'll have to come back out after this flashes off a little bit here, and then I'll spray a last coat on it there, just for the texture, of course. But that's where I'm at. So let this flash off, and I'll come back and throw another light coat on just to make sure everything's covered. And that's where I'll be for this week's video. Ain't much content, but it was a lot of work, and I had to get the back of these done and out of the way because I am sick of fenders. So with these done, I've been on them pretty much all day. Get these sprayed one more time, and then they go back on the car for the final time. So alright, that's a happy day for me to get these on there and not have to remove them again. I don't know. It seems like it cleaned it up a little bit, but that's as clean as it's gonna get. So it's going on the car like that. Alright, I just thought I'd show you guys where I was at and close out this week's video, and move on from this nightmare. Alright, we'll check you later. Night night.